Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Bowman here, and today we are continuing our playthrough of Planescape Torment. And today we will be taking out this this guy here for a quest, so let's get it over with, I suppose. You see a reptilian creature with a snake-like body, four-clawed feet, leathery wings, and a draconian head. The scales covering its body are a vile shade of green. The creature stands upright on its hind legs, balancing with its prehensile tail. As you approach, its eyes narrow and slits as it begins to hiss. Greetings. The air around the creature begins to radiate heat, and its scales take on a pale sheen. It gives you a hungry look, and it appears ready to strike. Suddenly, it releases a flurry of hisses and relaxes its stance a bit. Go. Groska, no talk, told wait. It glares at you as its tail lashes back and forth. Sebastian sent me. The creature relaxes quite a bit, and the air grows cooler, and holds out a clawed hand to you. Give Gross information. He looks at you expectantly. No, Sebastian sent me to kill you. Without a moment's hesitation, the creature lunges at you.
It's not working on this thing. Tiger's not working in this. It's not working on this thing.
I just fell in. Damn. I'm hurt.
It's not working on this thing. It's not working on this thing.
Well, shoot.
Worse than last time.
You know, I've learned some new tricks.
Oh, didn't even know that I was ready to level up. Okay. Let's see. Alright, let's try this again.
It's not working on this thing.
Tiger's not working in this thing.
It's not working on this thing. It's not working on this thing. It's not working on this thing.
Rock seems true.
Tiger's not working in this. Tiger's not working in this thing.
Looks like my skills have increased.
All right.
Okay. Sebastian smiles at your approach. Good day, Cutter. Have you completed your quest? Yes, I have come for what is due me. One moment, please, Cutter. Sebastian reaches into his robe and removes a small crystal ball. He gazes into it for a moment before returning his attention to you. I cannot thank you enough, Cutter. I shall live up to my part of the bargain. Are you ready? Yes. It is done, Cutter. Once again, I thank you. Sebastian bows deeply to you. Thank you, and farewell, Sebastian.
Updated my journal.
Let's talk to this lady. You see a pretty young woman in fine clothes. Her skin lacks the usual yellow tint of the inhabitants of this ward. She appears to be watching three nearby creatures with interest. Greetings. She turns to face you and an annoyed look crosses her face. Yes, what do you want? I have some questions. Fine. She looks irritated. Who are you? My name is Xanthia. She looks up and down and she frowns. Is there something else you wanted? What are you doing here? There's going to be a fight and I want to see it. She smiles wickedly. It should be interesting. A fight? Yes, see the three thokola over there? She points to the three hulking creatures with rippling muscles. They're going to try and kill Inabashi, she snorts. The stupid oafs. I've heard of something called an Abashi. What exactly is it? It's a lower plane creature, Bazetsu, I think. She frowns in thought. In any case, Abashi have nasty dispositions, sharp claws, and can cast spells. Very formidable. The thokola look like they can take care of themselves. Normally I would say yes. Thokola are very powerful warriors. She smiles slightly and leans into a whisper to you. However, I know something they don't. What might that be? Abashi can only be hurt by magic, she snickers. The thokola will be slaughtered. I have no doubt of it. She straightens up and watches the thokola eagerly. How do you know they can only be hurt by magic? She gives you an annoyed look. My husband is very high up in the harmonium. The harmonium guards are trained to deal with creatures such as Abashi. She looks away. That's how I know, my husband told me. Why don't you warn the thokola? Why should I do that? She smiles evilly. I'm the one who suggested the fight. Why? My husband tries to better his social standing within the underlings by drinking with them in the local taverns. Last evening he forced me to just such an occasion. Those three oafs were there, boasting of their prowess as warriors. It was obvious they were in a drunken stupor when they decided to leave. One of them tripped and fell into the table I was sitting at. She pauses. She frowns angrily. Most of the drinks at the table spilled into my lap and ruined my very expensive evening gown. So while the cretin were trying to apologize, I whispered to him that I only accepted the apology of a warrior of stature. If he were truly such a warrior, he'd be able to defeat an Abashi in hand-to-hand combat. You're going to get them killed because they ruined a dress?
Updated my journal.
You obviously do not understand the intricacies behind this situation. She looks at you like you are an idiot child. I was embarrassed and humiliated in front of my husband and his underlings. She looks angrily. I see. I have some other questions. What can you tell me about this ward? Nothing. She looks about with distaste. Were it not for the fight, I wouldn't be caught dead here. This creature is huge, standing over 9 feet tall. Ripping muscles support its massive frame. As you approach, he leers at you and laughs. Greetings. He looks down at you and gives you a friendly smile. What do you want, Smalley? I have some questions. You got a question? Maybe Thorp got an answer. Who are you? He smacks himself in the chest with a thunderous blow. Thorp. He raises his arms above his head and shakes his fist at the sky. Mighty warriors Thorp. All thokola are mighty warriors. He places his fist on his hips and glares at you. Who are you? I don't remember my name. He nods at you as he examines your scars. You got mighty scars. You must be a great warrior like Thorp. He frowns and nods wisely. You got hit on the head too many times. Not remember name. Someday it come back. Ask some questions. What are you doing here? He barks out a laugh and smiles at you. Thorp here with friends. He gestures at the nearby thokola. We're gonna barsh a flying lizard. He lets out a roar and begins to pound his chest with fists the size of hams. Flying lizard? He nods his head and then begins to make crawling motions. Lizard, you know, but it fly. He begins to flap his arms like a huge, misshapen bird. Eventually he settles down and looks at you expectantly. You mean a dragon? He snorts and raises his full height. Thorp good, but he not that good. Someday Thorp want to barsh a dragon. He stares off into the distance with a longing expression and sighs. But not this day. Well, if it's not a dragon you're talking about then what is it? Thorp now remember what Xanthia call it. He pauses to think. A lizard, tall as Thorp, walk on back legs, got wings, got claws. Red in color. I think she called it Abishai? He pauses, then shrugs. I've heard of something called that. Is that what you mean?
My journal.
His eyes light up and gives you a joyful smile as he nods his head. Yes, Abishai. Flying lizard. Thorp and friends bash real good. Thorp be warrior of stature then. And then she'll accept my apology. I see. I have some more questions. I've talked to her. She said you're going to fight one? He smiles and nods at you enthusiastically. That's right. Thorp and his friends barsh. I've learned that Abashi can only be hurt by magic weapons.
My journal.
He gives you a weird look. Need magic? How you know? I talked to Xanthia. She told me. He seems confused at first, and then a look of realization appears on his face. Xanthia played Thorp for a coney. She lie. Try get Thorp and friends dead. I'm afraid so. He nods. She doesn't deserve an apology. Free Thorp from her debt to her. Yes, you are free of your debt. Thorp, thank you. You save life. You save life of friends. He turns to the other thokola and speaks to them hurriedly. After a moment, all three of you bow and each hands you a pouch of coins. I must be going. Farewell. You see Exaya. She gives you a look filled with hatred. You warned the brute, didn't you? Yes, I did what I felt was right. She nods her head slowly. I will not forget this insult. Good day to you, sir. She turns and leaves. Let's see.
Done.
You see a young boy with pale yellow skin. His clothes are dirty and in need of mending. Currently, he is tending a furnace. Greetings. He turns and gives a half smile as he sets down his work. Hail, do you need some help? Yes, I have some questions. Aye, it'd be a pleasure to help you if I could. The boy looks grateful not to be toiling over the furnace. What is it I can answer for you? What is this place? This place? He glances around. It's the open-air market. A lot of buyers and sellers come here to set up their kip for the day. I've been here for a good time. I've been working here for a while under the eye of me, da. He looks a little distant. One day I could be running his stall, I could. What is it that you do here? He points proudly at the furnace. The furnace, it used to... He shrugs his shoulders. I don't know what it's used for, but my DOS says it's important to keep it stoked and burning right. He wipes sweat from his brow and glances about. Is your father one of the merchants here? He nods. Ansi is his name. That's my DOS stall over there. He gestures at the stall to the right of the furnace. If you don't have what you need, he may be able to point it out to you. What kinds of goods are available? He thinks for a bit. There's many things to be had. Food, drink, magic, weapons. Are you looking to buy some supplies, maybe? I had some other questions for you. Can you tell me about the ward? Oh, aye. Here's the lower ward. Common folk live here, like me and my da. His eyes widen a bit, and he looks excited. Do you know why it's called the lower ward? No, why? Well, as I reckon, the ward's got a mess of portals to the lower planes, all riddled through like cheese, so it does. So I suppose that's why the name stuck. Why are there so many lower plane portals here? He shrugs. It's a mystery to me, as it is to you, Cutter. Not sure if there's a reason for the portals as much as the circumstances. Could be the lady's will. Could just be chance, suppose. Do any creatures ever come out of the portals? His eyes grow a little wider. Aye, they do. Most of them just stopping through. He swallows nervously and looks worried. You look nervous. You've seen this yourself? Aye, I've seen it. He pauses and swallows again. 'Twas just last week or so I saw a couple Abashi come through the portal. They talked a good bit. Then one of them went back through. The one that stayed there is still there, he frowns. What were they talking about? I don't know for sure. To me it was just hissing and such, but I think they were talking about the tower.
Updated my journal.
The tower? Aye, that's one of the strangest sights to be in the ward. No one really knows how long that sacred old tower has been around. You can't go into it, you know, bolted up together than a chastity belt. I'd be curious to know what's in there. He thinks for a moment. The Abashi was gesturing at the tower and the portal. They was looking for the key, I bet. What key? The key to the portal that leads to the tower. Every portal has a key that opens it somewhere. They can be a gesture, an item, or even a thought. Many have tried so hard to get into the tower. No matter how hard you try, you fail. Maybe the secret to getting in is not what to get in.
Updated my journal.
He shrugs. I don't know, Cutter. Maybe. Where's the
Updated
portal
my journal.
located? He stops to think for a moment. There's a drawbridge-like contraption back of the tower, cast to the market. That's where it is. Why does everyone seem to have yellow skin around here? It's the sickness, it is, caused by the bad air. Well, with the smoke and all the factory smogs, it can be pretty hard to breathe easily around here. He shrugs. Some days it's not good to be out when the smoke lingers too long. They can scald your eyes right out of the skull, so it's said. Can something be done about it? I don't know. At times winds come from the spire and blow the city clear of smog, but that's not as often as I would like. He blinks, glances around, then shrugs. Ladies' will, I guess. Don't make much sense, but then little does if you look at it long enough. Is there anything worth seeing around here? Not much to see. The Great Foundry's impressive, though. You might check that out. Home of the Believers, you know. He stops to think. Most of the amazing sights are in some of the upper wards. It might be better to look around there. I hear there's a brothel there. The fest hall and some other places that's more interesting. I don't know for sure. I've been here all my life. Tell me about the foundry. Center of the ward, pretty much. An impressive structure, to be sure. You can't miss it. Just head north. You'll know it by the big gates. He marks it on your map. And the Believers? They've got a bunch of names. Believers, Godsmen, Believer, the Source. We mostly just call them Godsmen. They have their kip in the Great Foundry, and they seem to get by pretty well. They're a pleasant bunch. They believe that everybody can be great as the powers even, if you just strive to reach it. It might mean you have to start your life over a bunch of times, but eventually you'll get there after a time. So they're another faction here. What faction are you? He smiles. Oh, me and my dad are in-depths. We're a faction that's not really a faction. We're a faction that believes that people are free to do as they will. We're a pretty loose bunch, and we don't take too kindly to making or obeying other factions. What's the purpose of all these factions? He glances at you. The factions are them that govern most of the sigil and the day-to-day business. There's a bunch. There's the dead, there's the dustmen that take care of all the dead bodies on the streets, and then there's the governors that make the laws, and the census that's a number of factions. Here in the lower ward, we mostly deal with the Believers, the Godsmen. He nods in the distance. They have their kip in the Great Foundry, and they're a pleasant bunch enough. I must be going now. Farewell. What can you tell me about the city's sigil? The center of the plains, the city where most everything intersects. Never boring, really. The Lady of Pain is the law, and the rest of us mostly try and bang out a living under the shadow. He barks a laugh, then coughs. What can you tell me about the Lady of Pain? Don't know much about her. She keeps the powers of the sigil, keeps the fiends out, and takes deals with nobody. Except maybe the Dabbish. She'll pin you in the dead book damn quick if you worship her or try to hurt sigil. Her face and blades surrounding it would be the last you'd see. Interesting. At the mention of a face surrounded by blades, a memory forces itself into your consciousness. For a moment you are standing in a darkened alley, breathing heavily. Approaching you in the darkness is an uncannily beautiful woman, her face shrouded in blades, and with cold eyes. Suddenly the memory fades, and you are talking to the lady once more. You see a pretty young woman wearing simple clothes. She wanders about the market and examines everything, but does not make any purchases. You notice that people seem to be avoiding her, but they try not to make it obvious. She flashes you a warm smile as you approach. Greetings. Her smile broadens. Hello, I'm Karina. It's a pleasure to meet you, Cutter. She continues to smile and waits for your response. I have some questions. She nods her head. Where can I buy some weapons? She smiles and points to one of the counters. Anzi over there sells weapons, all kinds of weapons. Are you a warrior? How silly of me. Of course you are. I mean, how could you not be with all those scars? Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't make mention of those. You're not sensitive about them, are you? No, I've gotten used to them. She looks relieved. Oh, good. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, or anyone else's for that matter. You just have to be careful with what you say to someone, you know? I mean, people are different, and you never know. What may offend one person may not offend another. So anyway, she pauses for a breath and smiles at you. Where can I buy some magic? She smiles and points to one of the counters. Alec over there sells magic things. Are you a mage? You don't look like one, but I guess looks can be rather deceiving. I don't know what a mage really looks like, now that I think about it. Do you? Yes, they wear robes with funny symbols and a pointy hat. Really? That's good to know. I mean, mages scare me, so I want to know what they really look like. I guess it's all that power that they have, that they can do really incredible things and all, but you don't know what they look like. Warriors and priests and you know, other powerful people just look powerful with all that stuff they carry around that says they are powerful people, but not mages. You, really like to talk, don't you? She shuffles her feet and looks embarrassed. Well, I've been told that I probably talk a bit too much, and, well, people tend to avoid me, and I don't really have any friends or male friends courting me. Sometimes I get lonely. Her voice gets lower and lower until she's finally silent. She stares at the ground at her feet. I don't think you're a bad person, Karina. I happen to like you.
Updated my journal.
She gives you a hopeful look. Really? Thank you so much. I don't know your name. I don't remember my name. She frowns, starts to say something, and then thinks better of it. She shrugs her shoulders. What's in a name? It's just nice to know I have a friend, she smiles. You see a tall man in plate armor. The armor is an unusual construction with spikes flaring from the soldier's elbows and forearms. He nods at your approach, but then his eyes wander about the market. Good day, citizen. I am Guard Corvus. Greetings. How may I help you, citizen? He gives you a friendly look, but glances over your shoulder. I have some questions. He nods to you. I will help you if I can, citizen. Who are you? He gives you a slight bow. I am Harmonium Guard Corvus, citizen. I help keep the peace here at the market. He glances about for a moment, then looks at you. Tell me about the Harmonium. Our belief is simple. We are the light. We are the way. We are the order. We are the truth. We maintain and enforce order here in Sigil. We police the city. I see. I have some other questions. You glance over your shoulder and see Karina wandering nearby. Corvus seems to have his eyes locked on her as she wanders about. Her name is Karina. He snaps his attention back to you. I beg your pardon. You know her, citizen? He looks at Karina again. Voice of an angel and such a pretty young thing. Yes, and she's also lonely. I'm certain she would welcome the company of a gentleman.
Updated my journal.
He glances at you, then back at Karina. Excuse me a moment, citizen. He steps forward you and heads towards Karina. Corvus returns to you and is smiling brightly. Thank you, friend. A wonderful young lady. He looks a little glassy-eyed. My pleasure. You see a sickly Githrazi woman. She is hunched and bent, and her constant coughing is obviously a source of her pain. She holds a handkerchief that is practically soaking with blood, tissue, and phlegm to her face. She spies you and hisses. Greetings. She stares at you and speaks a few mumbled words to Dakan. Dakan glances at you and says, She cannot understand your speech. She said she's dying. What's she dying of? Her name is Anansi. She says she used to work in the meat curling house here until a half month ago when the illness became too much for her to bear. She was abandoned, evicted from her home, and left for dead. Speech plains her, and her illness has crippled much of her mind. She says there is nothing she can give you of value. And? Know that she will not recover. I can put her out of her misery. That is all. As the deserth of the people, it is my responsibility to provide an alternative. Then be merciful, Dakan. Dakan draws his blade and waits for the woman to prepare herself. She touches the unbroken circle of Zermathun he wears for a moment, and her face is stoic. His blade is a blur, and when she has completed the stroke, she lies bleeding on a hard stone of Sigil streets. Well struck, Dakan. Let's go.
Updated my journal. Done.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll end this episode here. Thank you very much for coming along this journey with me on Planescape Torment. As always, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and we'll see you all in the next one.